The world watched in disbelief as the gavel came down, marking the end of one of the most shocking celebrity trials in recent memory. Sean "Diddy" Combs, the one-sententiable music mogul, has been sentenced to just over 4 years in federal prison, with credit for 14 months already served. He'll remain behind bars for approximately 3 more years, meaning the man who built an empire on fame, fashion, and fortune won't taste freedom again until 2028. By then, he'll be just shy of his 59th birthday. The courtroom fell silent as the judge delivered the verdict. "Mr. Combs," the judge declared, "you are hereby sentenced to 50 months in federal custody and fined $500,000, the maximum penalty allowed." Under the law, it was the closing chapter of a 32-day trial that gripped the public's attention, a proceeding filled with explosive revelations, celebrity witnesses, and disturbing allegations about one of hip-hop's biggest names. For years, Diddy was known as the larger-than-life figure behind Bad Boy Yakuza, label that launched countless stars and defined an era. But behind the glitz and glamour, prosecutors argued, was a darker reality. They claimed Diddy had orchestrated a decades-long sex trafficking operation under the guise of lavish freak-off parties, exploiting young women and using his fame and fortune as both a shield and a weapon. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Before his acquittal on the more serious racketeering and sex trafficking charges, Diddy faced the possibility of life in prison. And while the jury ultimately spared him that fate, they did find him guilty of lesser charges tied to prostitution and the facilitation of illegal sexual activity conviction that now cements his fall from grace. 55 chose not to take the stand in his own defense. Instead, he sat stone-faced through much of the trial, occasionally whispering to his attorneys or closing his eyes as witness after witness took the stand to recount stories that shocked even seasoned courtroom observers. 34 witnesses in total painted a disturbing picture of Combs' secret world, a world of control, manipulation, and excess. Among them was his former girlfriend, singer, and model Cassie Ventura, whose testimony would become the emotional centerpiece of the prosecution's case. From the moment Cassie walked into the courtroom, Diddy's gaze never left her. The years of shared history hung heavy in the air. As the prosecution's star witness, Cassie spent nearly a week on the stand. She described, in painful detail, the years of alleged physical and psychological abuse she endured during their decade-long relationship. Her voice trembled as she recalled the nightmarish moments she said defined her time with the music icon. At one point, the jury was shown surveillance footage from a 2016 hotel security camera, now infamous video, that became a pivotal piece of evidence. The grainy clip, once leaked online, showed a violent altercation between Diddy and Cassie in a hotel hallway. "My behavior in that video is inexcusable," Diddy would later admit in a prepared statement, but for many observers, that footage spoke volumes. Cassie's testimony went further. She alleged that Diddy had not only abused her physically, but also raped her, drugged her, and coerced her into participating in what he called freak-off days-long sex parties involving drugs, hired companions, and carefully orchestrated scenes that she said Diddy controlled down to the smallest detail. "He told me what to wear, how to move, what to say," she told the court. "He controlled everything, even the lighting in the room." The description left the courtroom stunned. Prosecutors backed her claims with physical evidence photographs captured during the FBI's raid of Diddy's Miami Beach mansion. Last year, images shown to the jury revealed the shocking contents of those raids. Dozens of boxes filled with baby oil, lubricants, lingerie, and large sums of cash. Tables stacked with unmarked pills, blue and black, many later testing positive for cocaine, ketamine, and MDMA. Assault rifles, designer drugs, and even detailed party scripts allegedly used to direct participants. In one photo, investigators displayed shelves lined with cameras and recording equipment devices prosecutors claimed were used to film the encounters without the participants' knowledge. To the jury, it painted the picture of a man who had lost all boundaries, trapped in his own illusion of power and control. Defense attorneys, however, fought back hard. They argued that the government's case was built on unreliable testimony and motivated by greed. "This is not justice," one defense lawyer declared in closing arguments. "This is extortion dressed up as morality." Every person who took that stand came for one thing: money. Diddy's legal team framed the entire case as a coordinated attack against a wealthy, influential man in an era where public opinion moves faster than truth. Yet despite their efforts, the jury remained unconvinced on several counts. When the verdict was read, Diddy sat motionless. His mother, Janice Combs, wept quietly in the front row. His longtime friends and associates avoided reporters as they exited the courthouse. Offering no comment. Outside, the crowd erupted, some shouting for justice, others mourning the downfall of a hip-hop icon, for the man once known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and later simply Love. It was a staggering end to an empire that once seemed untouchable. And though this criminal case may be over, his legal troubles are far from finished, according to court documents. Diddy has already spent more than $10 million on legal fees. Yet he still faces over 50 civil lawsuits, many from women alleging abuse and assaults spanning decades. Cassie's own civil lawsuit, filed in 2023, was the first crack in the dam. Within 24 hours of filing, Diddy settled the case for $20 million. An act his team called a business decision, but one that opened the floodgates for dozens of others to come forward. When someone as powerful as Diddy is finally held accountable, said one victim's advocate, it gives others the courage to speak their truth. Cassie's voice broke the silence. Public opinion has shifted dramatically since then. Brands once aligned with Diddy have quietly cut ties. His vodka and clothing lines have been suspended. His name has been removed from charitable boards and university programs that once celebrated his success. Even former collaborators in the music industry have distanced themselves, describing the revelations as heartbreaking and hard to process. The man who once sang "Can't Nobody Hold Me Down" is now held by the justice system, his freedom limited, his reputation shattered in prison. Diddy will serve his time under federal supervision, with reports suggesting he'll be housed in a medium-security facility designed for high-profile inmates. Sources close to his legal team say he's been reflective in recent months, spending his time reading, exercising, and meeting regularly with his attorneys as they prepare potential appeals. But few expect the appeals to change his outcomes significantly. The evidence, both physical and testimonial, proved too overwhelming for even Diddy's star-studded defense team to overcome, as one prosecutor said. During closing arguments, power protects for a while, but eventually, the truth catches up. That truth has now caught up with Sean Combs, from the stages of the Grammys to the cell blocks of a federal penitentiary. The contrast is almost unimaginable. Once celebrated as a self-made mogul, an innovator, and an icon of black excellence, he now stands as a symbol of what happens when power, privilege, and impunity collide. His story serves as both tragedy and warning: rise built on ambition, a reign fueled by excess, and a downfall sparked by the courage of those who refused to stay silent. And as the cell doors close on one of music's most powerful figures, the echoes of his empire continue to fade, reminding the world that no one, no matter how wealthy or famous, is above the law. The Diddy era, it seems, has come to an end.